What happens when a Methodist pastor sees a huge need in his community and then proceed to organize a group that starts reaching out to people and help address those needs? This is what Barry Sloan did in Chemnitz, a city in what used to be the Communist East German Republic. Listen to this video as Barry shares how he did it.
What is the one job that we as the Church of Christ, no matter what denomination we're from, what is that one job that we're to be about? As the United Methodist Church, we have a mission statement, making disciples of Christ for the transformation of the world. And for me personally, obviously both parts of this mission statement are valid. I personally like to emphasize the second part of it, for the transformation of the world. And so I want to share with you today my ministry here in this part of Germany, which is former communist eastern part of Germany, where there is approximately 85% atheist population. It's actually whole generation, 40 years of communist rule led to a whole generation being alienated from church and from the gospel message. And so in this context, in the city of Chemnitz, it's a population of 250,000 and about 87% atheists and highly secular as well. And in this part of downtown Chemnitz, we started a fresh expression of church called Inspire. I want to share with you about our work using the four defining terms that define a fresh expression of church: missional, contextual, formational, and ecclesial. Missional coming from the word mission, from the Latin, literally meaning to be sent, sending. So we go out into that community. It's as opposed to the attractional model of evangelism and mission, which we have done as a church for many decades. We go to them where they are at in their world. And that's what we did in Chemnitz, in the city of Chemnitz. It all started in 2014. I had a group of Irish young people. They contacted me, a youth group in Ireland, and they said, we'd love to come to Germany in the summer to do a kind of volunteers and mission thing for a week. Have you got anything for us? We did some neighborhood clear up, planted some nice flowers, cleaned up the neighborhood a little bit for the first part of the week. And then in the second part of the week, we invited the mission bus from the Board of Evangelism, along with bouncy castles and other mobile stage and various things, to have a neighborhood festival for 3 days where we basically just served coffee, entertained the kids, entertained the adults, and just did life with them. We didn't preach. We didn't preach directly or in the traditional way of preaching. We just did life with them, and we wanted to bless the neighborhood. And we said, look, we as an Inspire, we're going to be starting up here soon, and we just want to bless you. And at the end of that week, some of the neighbors came to us. And you remember our motto, touching hearts, moving people, breathing new life into the brule. Basically, our philosophy is if people's hearts are touched, it leads them to actually get engaged themselves. It leads them to get involved. If your heart's touched, you want to do something. You want to change your neighborhood yourself. And then once you get involved and are active in your neighborhood, that will lead to the regeneration of that neighborhood. And so at the end of the week, one of these little square garden project things had not been completed. And at the end of the week, the neighbors came to me and said, look, Barry, what about these two other little garden areas? We need to finish those. Can we do it ourselves? We'd touched hearts, we'd blessed them. They had become active and they started to change the neighborhood themselves. And that was the very first week back in 2014. It says, you go there and then you be contextual in the context where you are. You adapt to their culture. You come obviously with your values and you don't water down who you are as a Christian and what your message is, but you adapt to their culture. I've had to learn to speak the German language. I've had to learn to adapt to the German way of doing life. But when we went in, it was a rundown neighborhood in 1989 when the wall came down and Germany was reunified in 1990. All the investment left, all the shops that were being propped up artificially by the state, all that money dried up. And so businesses left, the neighborhood became dilapidated. All the houses were boarded up, and a lot of the houses were boarded up. Graffiti everywhere. It was just a rundown part of Chemnitz city. And so we moved into this context. We basically spent 1 year just to pray and to listen and to ask God to show us how we could bless this neighborhood. We knew we were going to be doing something here, but we spent 1 year listening upwards and listening outwards, doing prayer walks around the neighborhood, talking to people, listening to people, looking with our own eyes and trying to sense what the Spirit of God would be saying to us. So we go into that context where it's run down and the city of Chemnitz is thinking about trying to renovate it and trying to breathe new life into it. And this handful of Christians from different churches who have a heart for this neighborhood and a heart for Jesus decide to get involved. 8 Christians rented these premises. We each paid the rent because we made a monthly donation that covered the rent cost. And then everything else we basically recycled, upcycled. And then the third defining characteristic is formational. And here it's about making disciples. We're actually also trying to share with them the story of Jesus, the gospel. Spiritual formation is a big part of what we do in Inspire as well, and trying to find ways of connecting with these people, but not seeing them as mission objects, not seeing these people as, oh, I need to befriend you because I want to convert you to my faith, but actually just to connect with these people because we do life with these people, because we love these people. And because we love them, we also want them to have life in all its fullness. And so trying to find a way there has been a challenge that I still wrestle with today. I'll try to show you through our various activities, how I believe spiritual formation happens. It might not be enough for some people, and I'm happy for some, pushback on that. I'm happy to have a conversation, but this is what works in our context. I actually believe that this model of ministry has possibilities all over the world. One of the ways that we do spiritual formation is table fellowship. Almost everything we do in Inspire is around food and drink and fellowship and conversations. And so we've had regulars who come to bring and share brunch. They come to our Music Monday singer-songwriter evenings. They come to other events that we're having, whiskey tastings or wine tastings. Another way that we try to shape and form our community is through work parties. Another way that we have an opportunity to connect with people and to share who we are and what we're about is through our Music Monday singer-songwriter evenings. We don't look out Christian artists that come and do praise and worship songs for us. We just look out for artists that can identify with our ethos and our values. People of good faith, hopefully ourselves, working with people of goodwill. Another opportunity that we have is through our Inspire Kids work, just to minister to kids. It started off in this circus wagon out the back of Inspire, the rooms, the premises. And the kids would come every day. You'd have 30, 40 kids. It grew and it grew. And now we actually have separate premises for it. It outgrew the circus wagon. And we now have 4 full-time social workers employed with a very colourful program every 5 days a week. And a lot of the children that come here are children of refugees, migrants. That's our team. Now, it's basically a bunch of misfits, colourful bunch of people that have a heart for Jesus and a heart for this neighbourhood. And basically up to today, these are all the kind of things that we do. Every day of the week, we have something on. It's just grown.